Go to the hall 2, get the Auroras out of the way. Yeah.
And nobody cares about the Andromedas.
We'll come back to these. We'll wait to.
Your stream's not up, Alpha.
Oh,
There it is. I finally. Okay, it just now showed up for me.
I've changed this. I'm using some different software now, but I've had to go back to this one because I couldn't get it set up right.
This is a friendly reminder that the Tobin Expo Center is a STEM-free environment. Please refrain during your visit and have an
Phoenixes look cool until you shoot at them, and then they become giant spinning paperweights.
At least someone who knows how to comment on the status of the Connie. Do you know the reason the Connie will never get reworked? It's because the community so heavily defend how good of a ship it is when it isn't.
It'll get tidied up at some point. Should we do? Let's do left to right. Yeah, I think a lot of us started with these.
I didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Bog standard Aurora.
For like 5 minutes, and then you loaded in Port Olisar. Someone saw someone with like an Avenger or something, and like, nah.
What a cutlass black.
Yeah, as soon as you saw something else, yeah, suck it in.
Or the original Connie, everyone was like, wow.
So I think this one doesn't go on sale very often. Which one's this?
The military one.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
even
but
funny saying that.
back in the day, the like this was your, or well, there was a time when it was like the little Apex fighter.
Look
It was a
at
long
that.
time ago now. Arena Commander and all
Double
that.
repeaters on the front. Missiles on the roof.
So they're just variants.
My bad boy over here. Oh wow,
Try and move the camera a bit. So standard, isn't it, with the beds and stuff like that as a starter ship, but you've got all the variants depending on what you want to kind of, whatever your flavour is.
You upgraded the MR guns and it's now carrying twin Gatling guns.
I mean,
what size?
They work, don't they? You can
Are
fight.
those size 3 weapons on that?
I don't think they are.
Yeah, I have to admit, they are the nicer looking of the Auroras, though.
Pathfinder, so exploration.
Solid little starter ship, and you can get away with a delivery mission because you can just drop the box in the back. There's a lot more to be said than.
Yeah, they had to patch it in, didn't they? So you could carry the box up the ladders.
Yeah. I actually remember back in the day trying to do a run and jump. You would do a run and jump
try and throw the fucking.
Yeah.
When I was a lad, back in the day, when I was a lad.
Or you'd park it next to a rock and then try jump from the rock in through the door with the box in your hand. So which one is this now?
Oh, another Pathfinder. Is that not the same?
Yeah,
Oh,
what the hell?
yes.
What's the difference between the two?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not too fussed with these.
Rifles on the front.
Oh, light freight. So you've got a cargo bay. I think.
Yeah, you're not going to announce cargo run.
Yeah, I don't.
Or
But you can move something extremely illegal. Drugs.
Yeah, but look, when the game starts to expand, you're going to have newbies that come in, and they are going to be starting off in the bog standard ships.
I still think that the starter ships are going to have their own place. So.
Of course they will. The whole beginning of the game is going to have a dedicated.
Well, that's the Mantis.
That's the Mantis now, yeah.
So it's got two things, doesn't it? The Mantis is the quantum enforcement, which pulls people out of quantum, and then I can't remember what the other thing's called. Quantum dampener.
Quantum snare.
That stops them going into quantum. You can't use them at the same time.
Interdiction.
Yes. Yeah. So it's supposed to be the. Well, we kind of speculate that there's going to be more or bigger ships that can do this, but it's not really used at the moment.
That's weird. Your F4 version takes away the screens on the Mantis.
The problem with the Mantis,
Actually,
the
it's
problem with
just
the
good
Mantis
see-through.
really, the problem with the Mantis really is,
Oh, yeah, it is.
it's because of the crime system, or the way interdiction works. It's like you're guaranteed crime stat for pulling people out of quantum, even if you don't attack them. So the problem, because of that, most people don't actually
Right, there's
use.
a button at the top. There we go. Cool. Pluto used to kill people en masse, didn't you? Going into quantum with it when they're all
Yeah,
stood
well, like it used to be.
inside.
It's quite strong for a wee small fighter. Like it does have like size freezes and on that thing.
I'm
Looks
not
cool as
gonna.
hell.
I'm not gonna try the seat. I was gonna see if we can turn the. I don't think. No, should we try it anyway?
Make somebody else do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I believe.
Just don't stay there for long. Just turn it on and get out.
Power's on. QED off. Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted to do. So it's not going to power up because the effect on it is brilliant, but.
I think it's not gonna power because it's a legal action. Because you can't do it in an armistice. So
So it'll
Can you
spin
get out
up.
the seat after more?
Yeah, let's try and get out. It spins up, you have this big red glowy effect, don't you? It's quite a cool effect. Yeah, we're out. Oh, we got a bed, toilet. Yeah, that'll do. The range on it doesn't... You don't really have a focal point, do you, on trade routes? You kind of do, but the distances and scale of the game kind of count against it. So at some point, I guess, that'll be fixed, or either the ranges are going to increase, or you're going to get another ship that can do a bigger quantum field.
I mean, it's like picking a needle in a haystack, really. Find the place for you to be, and then if you hit the EMP or whatever it is, bring them into quantum, you're just striking lucky, aren't you? Really?
Yeah.
When you out of it.
I think
It's a cool ship, very maneuverable.
he was more used for, when I've ever seen the Mantis being used, it's more used for stopping people quantuming away rather than pulling people out of quantum, if you know what I mean. Like they'll sit at like high traffic lanes, like around Ariel or something like that, where
And
people tend to warp.
I do think we'll see other ships with it, because the Cutlass Blue does. I don't think it's called the same thing though, but it's similar, doesn't it? It can stop people going into quantum. At some point, we'll see more NPC ships doing it. So when the advocacy pull you out, or I guess UEE, search and check, or after pirates or smugglers. Like in law, they're not just going to do it in rails that it just happens, which is kind of what happens at the moment. They do snare you, don't they? So you can't quantum away. But at some point they'll have the same rules we do, so they'll have to have a ship that's capable of doing it.
I like how they can snare you from quantuming away, but you can just blast away at like full tilt on your ship and just get out of the range. It's like, get fucked. I've literally been pulled out of quantum in a Carrack, and I just, oh, I'm in a Carrack, you can't touch me, and then I just like full tilt for like 2 minutes, and all of a sudden I'm out of the range and just jumped again.
I've never actually been on one of these.
We'll do the Phoenix. I'm not going to tour the other ones because they're all pretty much the same. The Phoenix has got a slightly larger cargo bay, but this is the luxury one. But there are some features to this that we don't have yet.
There's like a functioning ship that can fly in a straight line.
Well, it can fly in a straight line until, you know, someone shoots a BB gun at it.
We might have to take turns on this lift.
Your Alpha's gonna get killed again.
Yeah, there we go. So we'll go to the back.
Was
so
it always like a dark oak on the floor? I thought it was just below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always, when I've seen it, it's always been a pretty dark.
So definitely don't
Floor.
get into the seat of this, otherwise you won't get out. But
The Merlin.
Yeah, so Parasite, Snubcraft on the back, which is one of the unique features for it, which is standard on all the constellations. And basically, this is the luxury version. Let's see if I
Hey,
can
look,
find
a
interest
bed
in
for
it.
Pluto's mum.
Fuck off, we're on stream.
It's there's supposed to be a jacuzzi after it. no?
Jacuzzi and everything, yeah.
So the idea
This is
was,
all.
I think, that if you've had, like, this would be the ship you'd meet in for diplomatic talks of two opposing forces, something like that. But it is also a command ship, which is something that we don't have yet, for multiple player gameplay, which might be in the cockpit. So this is just a standard part of the constellations.
Hate the elevator in the constellation.
As you can see, it's got its famous
2 turrets.
ridiculous strut to window ratio.
Yeah.
It's
I have to say,
two-
the
Not
pilot
really
area in the
seeing here.
constellation does look kind of cool.
it looks kind of cool. Functionality is not its strong point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had one for a long time. They just maneuverability and control and everything is not great.
There's supposed to be a grand piano thing that you can put in it as well, but that's not in game yet. There's something early on about it because it's all the keys are supposed to work, and you know the level of detail they're going to here. But the command bit, I'm not going to kind of dwell on, is essentially being able to send commands to your fleet. So if there's multiple players in multiple ships, you're supposed to be able to organise them from this ship.
Wait, it has the built-in Discord?
Yeah. So we're not really sure how
well,
that's
it's,
panning out, but you know,
It's
like
it's
the.
pia-
Go on.
it's the piano for the lounge lizard, like.
Yeah. You can
It's
lie
gotta
on
be
top of
something
it, and people can like, yeah. But some of the ships have got similar features to that. So the carrot, you know, that globe in the cockpit, the 890's got
Yeah.
one as well. That's supposed to be something to do with this higher level kind of instructing, you know, defend these ships or go and patrol here.
See that they still maintain the two turrets as well.
It's a cool ship. I mean, it doesn't really fly well and stuff at the moment, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't do the shit.
it's one of the first multiplayer ships that you come on to. So, like, Cutlass size is multiple player, but not really multiple functions and gameplay. You've got the turret and you know, whatever you're doing with the cargo in the back or a vehicle, but
The turrets that
this,
spit you out all the time?
yeah, this takes it up a notch with the Constellation in terms of progression. We've got the Aquila, which is the exploration variant.
That comes
Yeah.
with a rope.
I had one of them briefly.
I'd put
I
it.
think everyone had an Aquila at one point.
It's kind of got the basic features, isn't it? It's like a basic features of what the Carrot's got. So you've got a rover, you've got the Snubcraft with a bit extra, but obviously smaller and smaller crew. I do think these size ships are going to be really popular. A lot of games now, isn't it? It's like 4 buddies go and do something. This type of thing is going to be perfect for that kind of group makeup. Is that the Phoenix?
Look, this is the Andromeda.
Not the Phoenix,
This is
Andromeda.
the gunship. This is the one I had. Like, this is something you can you can play on your own, because the pilot controls the guns. You can get 4 size 3s or 4 size 4s.
It's Forces Forge, yeah. It is pretty decent. There just needs to be touch-ups done to the Connie and the engine systems and stuff like that.
They look brilliant.
Yeah, even if you don't go inside here and you look up, you can see all the missile racks.
Yeah.
And for a brief time, when it was working correctly, if you were bombarding people with loads and loads of short range missiles, you could actually see the you could actually see the missiles move their way through the mechanism, which was a cool feature for.
It's cool shit. The looks on it are really cool. It looks really cool.
Someone was saying
The
that
landing gear and the way you've got a VTOL mode, haven't you, that open up the flaps. Just at the moment, it's just dated again. It hasn't been looked at for a while. Things have got, all of the ships are kind of better, aren't they? Look a bit better in terms of the design and layout and stuff.
Yeah, like I've PvP'd players with a car to wall, and they're in a constellation, and I just mop the floor with them. Did you just target engines, and once you get like one engine down, one or and if you get past 2 engines down, they're just screwed.
Yeah. It's one of the few, well, there's probably others, but it's one of the few where if you target the engines, isn't it, you see them fly off.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you get like 2 engines on like one side and all they do is just spin.
Yeah.
Like I had one guy in chat one time. I popped both engines on one side, and I just sent him spinning, and he literally just put in chat like, whoever's PvPing me in the little starship, you just blacked me out, and then I popped him.
The problem is the colony. The problem with the colony is people defend it, so people get emotionally attached to it. So what they do is they defend the ship, but without the criticism towards the ship, the colony's never going to be fixed. That's the problem. People need to accept the idea that the colony is not in a good place and needs to be better. It's when people are like sitting adamantly defending it is where the issue arises.
And that's something to do with the fact that it's meant to be in Squadron 42, so that's why they're not looking at it until kind of after the game.
No, it's just they don't care.
Oh, Irish to Nick. Gotta believe, Pluto. Rovers. So these have been around for quite a while, but they're not. Occasionally, actually, they've got a lot better at getting in and the doors and stuff working. Wheels falling off.
I think they're actually quite a cool little vehicle, like, aren't they?
They're pretty much.
You've got the turret enclosed, isn't it? You've got you're secure in harsh environments.
It's the only combat ground vehicle other than the ballista currently in game.
Yeah. It's nice the fact that the.
Well, no, there's the weird bike from
Yeah,
Drake.
but it's the only real one that the pilot has full control of. You know what I mean?
No, I mean you've got the Tumbril with the turret on as well.
Yeah, but the pilot doesn't control that one.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, the IAE one with the EMP as well, but different. So I think this has been pitched as the exploration one, hasn't it? Because it comes with the constellations, Aquila. It comes with the Carrack. Comes with the actually there's a different version of the rover for the 600i and the Phoenix, but I guess the Tumbrils are open air, aren't they? So you're gonna have to get suited up. This one you won't, but we haven't got the scanning. So does this do better scanning than other things? There's a few kind of questions on it, and vehicle gameplay isn't really a thing at the moment at all.
Good thing about it is it actually has room for a small squad in the back.
Yeah.
So you can actually put a fair few people around.
We can, if you include the pilot of it, you can move 6 around in the seat.
Yeah, got the little fold out seats.
But
it's well designed. They've spent a lot of time in kind of putting this together with your little gun racks and cabinets and everything for supplies. So we'll just have to see. Right, we'll whiz on. We want to go this way first. This way first. Yeah, so this is the last. People have been waiting for this forever, haven't they? The Taurus. Constellation Taurus, which is the Taurus with a larger cargo capacity, so it's more focused on cargo.
180 STUs.
Medium free.
It's actually stripped down because there's no. I don't believe there's manned turrets. You see the little dome? I'll get an angle on it.
Well, to be honest, the only thing you're really losing is the useless bits of the Connies.
So what actually are them domes that are on the
So
IAE truck?
there's no turrets, but they're
One of
supposed to
them's
be smuggler space, so you can smuggle items in there or hide your
and you see
drugs.
below there's a tractor beam on the bottom of it. As far as I remember.
Yeah, you can see it there in the front. It's like a little satellite dish.
Yeah, so it's supposed to drag cargo into the cargo bay. No, it's not. I would honestly say it's one of the better of the Connies
Yeah.
for use, because I wouldn't like it. It is pretty
Well,
decent.
options with the big cargo, of course, you can still get vehicle. You might be able to get 2 vehicles in. We'd have
But
to
you get
wait
the
and see.
possibility
But
of getting like a ballista in there because of the size of it. It's a very long cargo bay there.
I think it might be a case once this is released, they might update the other Connies because this will be proper fleshed out and up to date, won't it?
We don't
Just
really
like-
know.
They're gonna keep it in
Possibly,
the same size scale as the other Connies, and then just
It
change
does have a nice front end on it though.
so it's a complete different variant because the structure changes, which is why it's delayed. Ultimately, that's why it's been delayed and probably not a priority.
Yeah, it really has a bit of priority to be honest. It's like anyone who has the Taurus got an Andromeda.
I think it's the cheapest one. So even though we say cheap as in pledge prices, that does equate to in-game as well to see kind of where it sits in the kind of hierarchy of the constellations or where they're kind of aimed at. Actually, the front looks wider as well.
Yeah, it's got like a more like dishy front on it, similar to the Aquila, but it's not as. It
Even
doesn't seem as strutty as the Aquila.
Even the what's it? The hatch thing here is different because we've got square. But this could just be an old model.
It looks like same outline, completely different form.
Yeah.
Well, they did a pretty good. Like, we'll see on this
You've
game.
got ladders.
You've
got ladders here. Now that is the same docking ring or door as what you have on the Auroras. I'm not 100%, but I'm gonna go with this is an older model, but
yeah.
I could be completely off on that. It could just be supposed to be bare bones. Everything stripped off it to do the cargo. So in saying that it could be the case. Could be an updated one and it's just stripped down, but that would go with the lore to do with it. But we'll have to wait and see. Oh, no weapons you can see on the engine mounts. But it's supposed to have some point defense system. So you're running, you're not fighting, you're running.
It doesn't have the snub fire, but is that a docking ring for the snub fire?
There is no stump fighter on that.
No.
Yeah, but just
It
on
doesn't.
the back of it.
Well, no, I don't actually know what that is. Apparently that is the smuggled cargo at the back because it doesn't even have the room for the import of the docking fighter of the Taurus.
Not quite sure what that bit is there.
Yeah, well, that's when RSI decided to finally get the parasite fighters working.
Oh, there is some kind of.
Well, I think parasite fighters may be working when docking comes a thing because I think they'll use the same general mechanic.
There's that. Whatever that is. I know you can't see my screen, but right at the back is some.
It's to put a space trailer on the back of it.
Yeah, space truckers. Right, we'll move along. So it's going. So this is going to go up in ship sizes, but this is the one that's been shown to us today, the Perseus.
It is a good looking ship.
It does look nice. We'll give them that.
So
it's a very, very streamlined ship.
All the speculation has been around these bits on the side, haven't they? And they actually don't do anything.
They're just docking. No, they're docking colors.
Yeah, it was the docking system.
Yeah.
Where people
you
were
know
saying
what?
that it's going to be guns, wasn't it? Broadside guns, all sorts, drop-in depth, the space depth charges. Crazy.
Yeah, well, I feel like what we've learned from the Perseus is no one knows. Because do you remember how much people were discussing how this thing had size 9 torpedoes?
Yeah, size 5.
Yeah, 20 size 5s.
Yeah, an interesting thing as well about it is very top.
That's a bigger. Put it on the top that way.
Yeah, there's 4 size 7 guns on it, and then 2 remote. There's 4 turrets on it total. So there's 2 remote turrets which have size 3 guns. Then there's 2 man turret which both have 2 size 7 guns on it. So it is a heavy hitter ship.
Now the size, the 2 smaller turrets, they said you can either have them as automatic configuration to defend the ship, or you can actually remotely operate them as well.
Most people are probably going to have
IAE.
those smaller remote turrets are probably going to become a lot more useful, especially with the new missile changes and torpedo changes coming in. Because now you'll be able to shoot down.
It's for defense of that, and you can automatically set them up, which is going to be very useful. And then
Try and
you'll
see
also have the
underneath
ability
it.
to shoot at smaller fighters.
Yeah, so 1 turret is on bottom and 1 turret's on the top.
They're going to be point defense, smaller turrets on point defense for taking down incoming missiles and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, the thing,
is that going to be? Does that look like a ramp on the side?
No, it's an elevator.
It's an elevator in the middle. So where those docking colours are, in the middle of that, there's a big square bit. It's 50
Cargo
SCU.
bay. Yeah, 50.
So
Which isn't bad.
it's big enough to get a rover in as well. So I think this is.
You know what's really interesting? It's the first ship of its price point to have an independent bridge from the rest of the hull. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting. It's a step up in multiplayer gameplay as well for a ship at that size, isn't it? You've still got the rover, so you're going to be able to do a variety of things, but this is focused on combat.
Yeah.
Well, it's anything but combat. I think it is a really one thing I'm interested to do is how will it perform in atmosphere, because it is very aerodynamic.
Yeah.
Compared to the Hammerhead,
which is the big think adding the rover it is kind of suggesting that you know it's going to. We know we can do it in some of the bigger ships like the Polaris, which we may or may not see in a minute. But it's going to be more costly, isn't it, for you to do?
One of my biggest complaint with that is, especially because you can allow to put a rover in there. I think it would be more situational if they had have allowed it to carry 1 tank.
Yeah. Have you seen the size of the tanks though?
Yeah, well no, the tanks have got big, very big.
Like 2 stories high.
Yeah, they're very, very big.
And it says rover size, so it's pretty much anything that fits in that rover silhouette you can squash inside it. So you probably want to do snub fighters inside.
What did they
probably make more sense.
On the brief thing that we saw before today, it was down as or the description was a sub-capital, wasn't it?
So it's a sub-capital killer.
Sub-capital class.
Got your Carracks, your Hammerhead.
Which those guns should be pretty effective against, definitely.
Yeah, shredding, yeah.
Again, guys, it's the size of it, so it's going to be more nimble than the stuff it's coming up against. So
I wouldn't maybe.
Have to be purely on size.
Well,
against other small capitals.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit more nimble.
It'd be a little bit more nimble. I think the biggest concern with mine is like comparing it to a Polaris. It's very hard at the current price point to justify it over a Polaris. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's kind of what my thinking was, which is there's not much of a difference between the two.
Yeah, and the Polaris.
Well, yeah, price point is pledging, isn't it? But I know we said earlier that does reflect an in-game price at some point, wasn't it, for people?
Well, the Polaris is going to go up in price, and so's the Perseus when it comes out. So we don't actually know what finalized pricing they're going to be, because they're both in concept.
They'll have a purpose. Like again, we have to take into consideration scale and how many friends people have, and not everyone's want to go move up to like capital size or Corvette size. They're going to want to have something with plenty of power, but something that they can play with a small, intimate group of friends.
Oh, to be honest, it is a very well designed ship, from what I can tell. It's a very nice ship. It has a decent feature set. It's a decent combat vessel. My thing is, it's just compared to. I just feel like I kind of would have preferred if it had 2 extra guns on it.
I think you're going to potentially get some a size where the NPC crew gameplay comes into play, because it does have a mess horn. So I mean, we're going to have to use them anyway. But I was going to say I'm quite glad that it's confirmed as docking collars, because that would have been my top guess.
Yeah, look, it's probably my favorite looking ship, to be honest. I really like the look of it.
It's supposed to be quite an old ship as well, but it's been all upgraded for now. Escape pods, engineering, okay. So the length is 100 meters, so that's pretty substantial. So twice the size of the Star Runner. I can't remember what the Hammerhead comes off at the top of my head.
100 is 100. Hammerhead's like 85. Something like that. It's like just about the 100, just under.
So max cruise 6,
Slightly larger than that.
50 meters wide.
So it's a fairly reasonable sized ship. It kind of reminds me, of a standard battleship that you'd see out in sea.
Yeah.
Do
you want me to stream the? I'm gonna see if I can get the concept.
No, I wouldn't. I don't know if you really need to stream the brochure, because you pretty much covered all the information in the brochure.
I'm just flicking through it now, see if there's anything relevant. But there's not. I don't think they have to say much more than what they've said now, because it's 2 turrets and torpedoes. It's a military ship. You got cargo.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be really flexible.
Oh yeah, it'll be flexible in combat. Not much else.
You can whiz around with 50.
It's all large.
SCU
It's
cargo
all large
as well.
components.
Moving that secure cargo, isn't it? That high value, low volume. You'll feel pretty safe moving in that. But okay, right, here we go. Oh, this little beauty. Oh, it looks a bit boxy from here.
Yeah, you would have to be a complete idiot to buy this ship.
I think we all like this one, Polaris. So it's the Corvette. I think this kind of fitted the role that the or the place where the Idris was supposed to be originally. But they just grew in so much size, didn't it, that it just become something completely different. So it left a gap.
Seriously, like when you look at it, it's supposed to be. It was discussed about like humanitarian effort and stuff like that. It's got a hangar. I think it's 250 SUs of cargo. Can't 100% don't hold me to that one. I think it's like 200 to 300 SUs of cargo. It's got ramps on either side below it. Ramps that like go out to the cargo bay. It's quite an interesting cargo bay design on the bit. I think it's got 6 turrets. The front ones have got 2 size 5. The one on top's got 2 size 5, and then the rest have got 2 size 4. So it's not a massive turret boat as some other things have, but it's got a decent amount of firepower. Major bit of firepower.
It's interesting with the cockpit or bridge layout on here is completely different to what I'm just going to quickly go back to the Perseus, because we keep seeing these like ship bridges, don't we?
I think the thing.
Bridges.
I think the whole reason is because the Polaris is not like the Perseus is sitting in a position where it's going to be a lot more slow moving than other ships, because it's a big boy. Here. Whereas the Polaris is supposed to be streamlined. It's supposed to be the most nimble of all capital ships. It's supposed to be quick. It's supposed to punch. It's supposed to get in and out of there, weave in between ships. That's what position. It's also got that hangar on top. From what we can tell, you can fit a Vanguard in that hangar.
Go trying to view it. There we go. That's
the top.
I didn't realise about the
quite a lot.
it's got
2 or 3 arrows.
Repair the arm and refuel single.
Increased efforts. Yeah, and then obviously the big one is the 28 size 10 torpedoes.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a hit and run, isn't it? It can fight, but it can't.
Which is the real selling point of this ship. because a size 10 torpedo is equivalent to 3 times the damage of a size 9. So if you do your maths, it's something like 30. It's got roughly about the firepower of like 30 retaliator bombers.
Oh, why am I
Just
lagging?
So yeah, pretty nifty.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, firing a size 10 torpedo,
Hello?
I mean, it's going to be slow moving. You'll be able to avoid it and possibly shoot it down, you know?
You're not going to be firing up. You're not going
Hello?
to be firing. Yeah,
Yo.
can you hear us, bro?
I can't hear anyone. Hello?
Hello?
My Discord just crashed there. Yeah, so about 30 there's about 30 retaliators and firepower in this ship.
Lose there.
And
Oh, I'm lagging out for some reason.
yeah,
Same, yeah.
Discord seemed to be crashing.
I think this
But
server's going to go.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. We covered the Perseus as well. Oh, I might be back.
Hey, you just rubber banded right back to me. I think.
Oh, I am
Is it-
back. Good. So it's a shame actually. I'm pretty sure we, or at least thought that Polaris was in the pipeline, but
It
this
is
is
and
very
isn't.
detailed. Yeah.
Well, no, the thing is, leaks currently have better ship models than the one that's put in the game. I don't know why this is such a low poly one that they're putting in the game now.
Thrown off. It's a red herring.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Polaris is out of all the capital ships, I think you're more likely to see a Polaris than anything else.
Right, I've actually crashed through the game.
Right, cool. I'm going to wrap our stream up here for today for RSI. That's quite